Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly class on Bhagavad Gita. We've been picking up various topics for our discussion for the purpose of this class, and we are trying to discuss them in detail and at the same time understand the practical application of those verses and the points made by Lord Shri Krishna in the narration of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So we've tried to see how those are relevant for us in the end, and how we can benefit out of the knowledge of learning Bhagavad Gita. So for last couple of sessions we've been discussing about modes of material nature or modes of nature, and so we spoke about elaborately about what these modes are. We'll do a quick recap, and then we will move forward. The bija vakya of this this whole section of Bhagavad Gita, the from chapter 13 से 18 तक उसका जो बीज वाक्य है, that is considered to be the verse number 13.22, which is considered to be the one of the most important verses of Bhagavad Gita. And lot of our problems that we encounter today are the root of that is in this verse. Because of this particular issue that we have, we've been we are stuck in this material world. This is the reason why we are stuck in the material world. The verse says that Purushaha Prakritis Stohi Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu. Now, this is one of the most important verses. It's called Bija Vakya. The translation goes like, the living entity in the material world, nature, does follow the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meet with good and evil among various species. Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu. The good and evil, Asat is bad and Sat is good. And Yoni Janmasu, various species of life, we keep taking birth. For what? Because of the Karana Guna Sangosya. And Guna Sangosya, why are we associating with Gunas? Because we want to Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan. We have a desire to enjoy Prakriti, enjoy matter. And that's why we are stuck in the material world. And Krishna is giving us a way out. He's opening a door for us, opening windows for us, saying that escape, get out of material world, don't stay here unnecessarily. Yeah. So this is the bija vakya, the desire to enjoy or enjoying mentality generally we have is the root cause of our presence in the material world and suffering here. Based on our desires and fructified karma, we are allotted body, and using our body and senses we perform activity, we perform fresh karma, and for with every karma we incur, be it good, bad, ugly, there are fresh fruits that accrue to us. Now, to enjoy or suffer, those fresh fruits are credited to our account, and we must exhaust those. To exhaust those fruits, we have to take birth again, because one lifetime is over and you would have done lots of activities, and the vlog that would have given you lots of fruits. So where will you enjoy or suffer because of those fruits? For that you have to come again, you have to take fresh body and fresh body, and then again, once you are given a body, given birth in this material world, then you are forced to act. You cannot give up action, which means you will continue to incur karma. So this becomes like a vicious cycle. So what is the way out? If I don't want to take birth, if I don't want to suffer, then I have to escape this cycle of birth. Now this cycle of birth I can escape, What is the way out? Because this looks to be a vicious cycle. One thing leads to another, and that same thing leads to the first thing. So how do you escape out of it? Now Krishna is giving us the way out. The way out is you have to hear the scriptures, because scriptures don't belong to this world. And scriptures give us information, using which when we act we do not incur fresh karma. Scriptures tell us activities which if we perform we can burn also all our past karma. So two purposes that are there that the scripture can easily serve, or scriptures are meant to serve, scriptures do serve. One is, it tell us how to act in the material world without um, without incurring fresh karma. That is one. Also we have a larger problem that our past accumulated karmas also need to be burnt. Scriptures give us method, process to do that as well. So using both these tools, we can lead a very happy life while we are alive in this world. At the end of it we can escape the cycle of birth by remembering Krishna, by going back to Krishna. So this is the hearing, process of hearing and practicing upasana, bhakti upasana, devotional service. So now hearing and practicing both are recommended in the verse 13.26. The one without another will be incomplete. So both needs to be performed. Those who only hear but don't practice what they have heard, or don't do not convincingly follow all the instructions that are given, the key instructions at least, then they will not be able to get much benefit. And those who practice without hearing, they continue to operate at a sentimental level. So for them also, their practice, with slight challenge coming from others, people can give up that practice, so that practice cannot become very steady and convincing. The modes exist for all of us. We all remember this. First person who has tested alcohol will be tempted every time he go past this shop. And there's one who has never tested alcohol. For him, he will not have any impact. But if he's a sweet eater, if there is a restaurant or a shop which sells sweets, which is next to this bar, then he will be tempted for that. If this person is very beauty conscious and if there is a beauty parlor next to that shop, then he will be tempted to that. So alcohol is one of the problem, not the only problem. Problem exists with the modes being there. The modes are there, therefore the problem is there, and it will be different for different people. One person may be tempted, may have may not have any urge to enter beauty salon or stop by the sweet shop, but he may be disturbed by seeing alcohol shop. Another person may not be disturbed by seeing alcohol shop, but may get disturbed or may get agitated by seeing a sweet shop, may get an urge to go there, eat, have something, have some snacks, um, have some farsan item, pani puri, bhel puri, whatever it is, and then ice cream and all that other sweet items. And the other somebody else may be conscious of his looks or her looks a lot. Every time they go past a shop selling beauty products, or a beauty parlor where they can enhance, decorate themselves more, they will be tempted to stop by and do something, get something done for themselves, buy something for their enhancing their beauty. So the problem exists for everyone. It's just different people have different problems. Nobody can claim that they don't have a problem. How does modes operate? There is a soul at the top, which is the spiritual being, which is foreign in this material world, foreign component in the material world. Soul is a foreign component. The rest of the world is material. Now they are local, we are foreign. The soul has software. Soul is like a user, and they have these softwares. One is the intelligence, mind, and modes. Mind and modes are practically together. We cannot separate mind and modes. The urges when comes through the mind, we just can see those urges coming and we respond to those urges. Now if your sadhana is strong, our response to those urges will be better, but more structured. If our sadhana is weak, we will be governed by those urges, whichever pushes that will come from within the mind. So for the purpose of functional purpose, mind and modes are practically one. But here for the analytical purpose, we have separated them and we have given individual functions of all of these three. So all three are subtle. This is like a software in a computer system. So intelligence contains buddhi and medha. Buddhi is analytical skill. Our ability to do analysis is called buddhi. Analysis, draw conclusion, do discrimination. So that knowledge, that kind of intelligence is called buddhi. And medha is emotional intelligence. It is said that women are generally are blessed with medha more than men. She can handle 4 kids very easily. A man probably will struggle with for whole day. Women can handle, mother can handle 4 kids very easily for the entire day, entire week, entire month without any problem. But if we leave those 4 kids with father for one day, and then probably at the end of the day both will be wanting to get out of that room. So because the emotional intelligence which is required for handling children is more with, naturally more with women, whereas the analytical skills are more with buddhi, which is more in men. But that's not the point that we are discussing there. So, but intelligence has these two faculties, buddhi and medha. Mind has 3 functions, 3 faculties: the feeling, willing, and processing input that is received from 5 senses. So that is the role of mind. Mind is willing; it's producing desires. It is experiencing emotions. It's feeling, and it is also simultaneously processing input that is coming in from all the 5 senses. Modes practically work inside mind. It's difficult to separate when mind is speaking, modes are pushing, and when our soul is speaking. All the 3 voices comes from within, and it needs a great deal of intelligence to identify what is what. When when the alarm clock rings in the morning, 5 o'clock or 4:30, as per whatever the setting that you would have done for japa. So when it rings, the what urge come from the within is to hit the snooze button first. Probably that's the reason why most of us may have 2 3 alarms set in the morning, because maybe 5 o'clock, and then maybe 5 5, and then 5:10, and at least one is expected to get up finally at 5:10, the third alarm. But but the urge which comes from within, now body, we are as a soul, we are unable to identify whether that is coming from the mind, it's coming from the intelligence, or it's coming from the modes. It's mostly the modes are pushing us, because we love sleeping. We've always been sleeping, we have always been wanting to sleep. A mode pushes gives the choice to push, gives the pushing to the mind, saying that hit the snooze button, or hit the worst is hit the cancel button and stop the alarm only from ringing future, and also get up and cancel all alarms, because it will create some justification that you are tired yesterday. The intelligence will, buddhi will come in help the mode, because the modes are in control. The mode of tamoguna is in control. When tamoguna takes control of mind, intelligence simply go and assist the tamoguna in ensuring that how tamoguna can prevail. And that's how the we will either hit the snooze button and go back to sleep. Worst, we can hit the snooze button, cancel button, and then cancel all subsequent alarms also, so that nothing is there for us to disturb, and then we can sleep till 7 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever we want to. And mind may, by the time, mind may see, it's like seeing the which direction the winds are blowing, and mind simply follows that. And the mind will see that winds are blowing in this direction, the mind will simply create a justification why you want to sleep more. And it will convince the soul that yes, the sleeping is the best choice for me, not getting up and doing japa. Now, in this case, the soul is dragged practically along with the modes. Modes are dragging the soul to its in the direction where they want to go. Modes, how modes did decide which direction to go? Because those were our desires in past. We've had these desires in history, because of which our pathways have got created inside our mind. So everywhere, every now and then we have a situation, we took those pathways very easily, because we find that, okay, in this situation, whenever there was a there was opportunity, you slept for long hours. Now, if that is how our mind is being trained, then the mode of tamoguna takes over, because they said, see, you want to sleep more. Maybe that's your body needs 10 hours sleep. You're a special body. Or maybe the activities that you are doing are, the 6 hours sleep is not enough for you. Or maybe, you've had too much stress, you've gone through too much stress, so it is justified that you sleep for 10 hours today. Whatever, the brain intelligence is there to give you all the, feed you with all the information, knowledge, so that you can create a justification to convince the soul why it should sleep, why she need more rest. So this is where the this is how our software inside our mind works, which is not visible, but it is pulling and pushing us in different directions all the time. And sometimes tamoguna is trimping, sometimes rajoguna is victorious, and sometimes sattva prevails. So this is the table we are all familiar with. We've discussed this. Now we've captured all their various parameters, and we have discussed this, so we'll not spend much time. So there is sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna. Sattva guna, the characteristics, the motivation is to give pleasure to our own body and senses, and for personal happiness. Now, sattvic person wants to be happy without troubling others. A rajoguni person may want to cheat others at times to get some pleasure, and tamoguni person can hurt others to get pleasure. Now that's the difference. Then characteristics, it's eliminating, sattva is eliminating a feeling of being superior in knowledge, skills, talent, and then sense of happiness. The knowledge and happiness are characteristics of sattva person, and being why he can be happy, because he's free from sinful reactions, so he enjoy a superior happiness. Now there are hierarchy in happiness also. So a sattva person may a long lasting superior happiness that they experience. A rajoguni person has desire for more, and when this desire for more is directed towards opposite sex, it becomes lust. When it is directed towards things of this material world, it becomes greed. And then it wants desire to have more. Then whatever they have acquired, they have attachment and fear of losing that. So these two characteristics becomes the raga and trishna. It is characterized by these two things, rajoguna. Tamoguna, born out of ignorance, leads one to deeper ignorance, madness, indolence, laziness, or sleep. These are characteristics of tamoguna. Binding force, knowledge and happiness keep us bound in the material world for a sattva person. Material fruitive actions keep bound a rajoguni person, and a tamoguni person is bound by laziness and sleep. And the tamasic enjoying mentality. That is the, now the definition of success for all the three people. The sattvic person, he will consider, for him what will be most valuable in life is good character. So he will value good character, knowledge, realizations, sense control, mind control, shama, dama, freedom from sinful actions. Now his definition of success will include all these items. If he is evaluating another sattva person, then he will work properly. It will be in good synchronization, because he will be able to appreciate what good character the other person is having, how much sense control the other person is able to show, his appreciation for him will be proper. Similarly, another sattva person can properly appreciate what this person has achieved, what we have achieved. Now we are in, this is like trading in same currency. When I'm giving you 1 rupee, you are giving me, yeah, I'm giving you 100 rupee, you are giving me goods worth 100 rupees. However, a person in Rajogun has completely different definition of success. Vinod Prabhu has given us this, and we continue to use this. Improving quality and quantity of facilities for eating, mating, sleeping, defending is the definition of success in the material world for the Rajoguni person. When he evaluate other people, whether other people are doing good in life or doing bad in life, he will use this definition to judge others. It's like I'm giving 100 rupees, and when I'm getting $1 back, I'm furious because I gave 100. Now I am, so this is like trading in different currencies. Now, when a Rajoguni person look at another Rajoguni person, the appreciation, there is appreciation and there is good reciprocation. But when he looks at a Tamoguni person, then he finds that it's he's useless. If you if you sleep too much, you could lose a lot of opportunity to earn money and improve the quality of your sleeping, buy a bigger house, or eating, go to a grand fine dine restaurant, or go and eat in five-star hotel, or mating, have more partners. Why satisfied with one partner? And defending, have more influence, have more power to yourself, have more insurance policies for yourself, have a bigger car um, with 6 or 8 airbags into it, so that you are defended. So his definition of success is this. Then his evaluation of other people also depends on this definition, his own personal definition. A Rajoguni person, when he evaluates or looks at a Tamo Sattvic person, he think he's wasting his time in doing japa, in which he could earn some money. If he can go for a run and maintain his health, so that he can work harder in office, being more sharp in taking decisions, and make more money. So for him, 2 hours sitting and chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, meditating, and meditating on mind, controlling our urges, controlling our senses, becomes a useless, wasteful action, because he cannot find what utility it will bring to us, because it will not going to serve any immediately his purpose of improving his facility for eating, mating, sleeping, defending. That's why he may consider these actions to be a waste of time. Similarly, a Tamoguni person will evaluate the Sattvic person and Rajoguni person in inappropriate way. So it's very, so becoming judgmental is everybody's fault. Everyone is judgmental. We are always judging others. We see others, we judge others. It's good to be non-judgmental, but it's very difficult to be ones. We are always passing judgments by seeing things, whatever we see, and then we think and decide that such and such person is this type only because I saw him doing this, I saw him doing that. And this is where our judgments can go wrong if we are in different modes. One, that is the best way of misreading a person. And within one mode also, we could have different degrees. We could be more leaning more towards sattvic. We may be in the mode of passion, but we are practicing sadhana bhakti. We could be leaning towards sattva mode, sattva guna. Or we are in passion, we are in rajoguna, and we are in the association, and we value the association of tamasic person. So eventually we will become tamasic person. So we are leaning towards tamoguna. So we will have a good mixture of all the three gunas within us. And at times it will become very difficult for us to become an observer and see which guna is prominent in us. And even though we know all the characteristics, it's easy to identify, but it's difficult to maintain the distance from the guna, because a soul can observe. But if we consider, most of the time we operate in the world thinking we are mind only, whatever mind is telling we have been doing. I bought a watch when I had three other watches in my in my cupboard. I didn't watch it purchase this watch for checking the time. I wanted to make a style statement, and this was a foreign made watch, and I wanted to have one in my collection. um, Now, is there anything wrong in that? No, but it is not. It will be for a Rajogani person. It will become great asset. He will appreciate. He will praise you for that. A Satvaguni person will not praise you for that. He said, you cannot wear four watches at a time on your wrist, no matter how long your hands are, and it's not going to serve any purpose. So it's a waste of time. You should have control over your mind. Urges may come. You don't have to go and buy every time. And similarly, urges come to wake up in the morning. You don't have to listen to the mode and go to sleep. You can actually fight the mode and come out of that bed and sprinkle some water, and then maybe sit down for chanting, and then eventually you will find comfortable, you will find fresh. Now I don't feel fresh is not your choice, but you can still get up. You will still get up. If you have want to catch a flight tomorrow for going somewhere, you will get up. You don't feel fresh, that's why nobody has missed flight. Then so that's the difference will be. This is how the difference and the definition of success in these three modes affect all of us, and we should know what mode we are operating in at different point of time. And that can be done easily by distancing ourselves from our mind. We are not our mind. We have a mind. We are not mind. Just like we say that we have a body. I am soul, I have this body. Now, similarly, I am soul, I have this body, and I also have this mind. I also have some intelligence, and I also am affected by the modes. We also have modes. We are getting impacted by modes also at times. Now, this is the knowledge, and we have to function with this knowledge. We saw in detail, will not spend much time. We have pre-existence. We existed, we have past life. We were existing in past, and we have done a lot of activities in past, because of which we are getting our currents, which has led to giving our current existence, our current life. It's not by lottery that we are born where we are born today, and we have whatever problems and the facilities that we have today. Always we find somebody is having lesser than us, somebody is having more than us, and we are somewhere in between always. And whichever stage you in life you are today, even Ambanis will feel that there are a lot of people who have less facilities than us, but there is somebody who is within India only, but has more facilities than me, has more wealth than me. So even and the same will happen with the Adanis, who are today number one, but eventually they will become number two, they will become number four. This is the going on. This is cycle is going on. And how who decides what we get is our past actions and past desires. What happens to us after this life? We have another life, or we will reincarnate. We will be given another body after our current body becomes useless. So this is how the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita expands. This is how the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita teaches us that the act properly in the current life. Now, this is contrary to the materialistic view and Christianity view, and these are the differentiation. One life is not enough. It's not a by mistake that you have been given this life in the current shape and form. You were existing in past, you existed in history, you exist today, you continue to exist. So act intelligently in such a way that you will be able to escape the cycle of birth. Now, that is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of human life is to escape the cycle of birth. And for that, to understand that we have a cycle of birth, the reincarnation and the past life regression, that becomes necessary to get us a conviction that yes, past life exists, just like I existed in past and I'm existing today, and I will continue to exist in future. Now, this knowledge comes outside from outside the world, because this can be given by somebody who is free. Our who can make us free is not another person who is bound by himself. Krishna is free. Krishna does not belong to this world, and neither he is bound by the activities of this world. He may come and do any activity, but he's not bound. He does not get bound. Now he is transcendental. That's why we call him transcendental to the laws of material world. So he come here by his own will. He go out by his own will. The laws does not apply to him. Just like a prime minister or a king can enter jail at his will and can go out of jail at his will. He may come here for inspection, meet the other jailer, other prisoners, have lunch with them, give them a speech, he may play some games with them, motivate them to become good people, and whenever he feels, he can walk out. Just by seeing him also in the prison, just like my other fellow prisoners, I should not misconceptualize that he's also prisoner. He is within the prison. He's talking to me, giving a speech or having lunch with us, or playing some games with us, and that is his magnanimity. He doesn't have to do that. He's not here because of his karma. He's here because of his own free will. I am here because of my karma. Now he can go out anytime. Now whatever he does while he is within the world, within the prison, he's not bound by that. He's not answerable to that. The laws which are applied by the jailer in the jail are created by him only. The jailer is appointed by him only. The jailer reports to him only. I may be very good with the jailer, but whether I get out of jail or not depends on him, Krishna. Similarly, we must understand that Krishna is not same. Krishna may appear in the world, may perform some activities in the world, but he doesn't belong to the world. Therefore, anything that he has given, any knowledge that is given by Krishna, only can help us get out of the world. Knowledge given by Krishna only can help us get out of this world, because he doesn't belong to this world. So his knowledge is not affected by the problems of this world. The problems of this world are everybody has a propensity to make mistake. Everybody has cheating capacity, and everybody's senses are limited. So they cannot perceive everything. So, and that's just the reality. So with this problem, whatever knowledge we will produce in this world will be incomplete. But Krishna, since it doesn't belong to this world, his knowledge is complete. And therefore, the words of Bhagavad Gita, activities described in Bhagavatam, are transcendental. Transcendental means doesn't belong to the boundaries and the laws applicable in this world. Only they can help us get out of this world. We will continue with our discussion on the fruits that what fruits one can get by acting under the spell of different modes. Prabhupada used a very beautiful word called spell. Spell is magic spell. Sometimes magician gives a spell, chant some mantras or make something, and then the person gets hypnotized, or person gets lost his external consciousness and try to do things as told by the other person, who practically has the ability to control this person like a robot. Now that can be spell. It is called spell. But modes actually cast a similar spell on us, which and while acting under that spell, we actually forget that we can act differently. If you have practiced too much hitting snooze button, you will practically find it impossible to get up and actually get going, and say that I have to snooze, I have to hit the snooze button whenever the alarm goes off, because that's become, by practice you have perfected this art. But there is always a choice, that there could be this could be one of the choice, there could be another choice. You don't hit the snooze button and actually get up, fighting much against the push which is coming from within. And the same way is applicable to a person who gets agitated just by seeing alcohol shop, a person who gets agitated by seeing a sweet shop, a person who gets agitated by seeing a product shop selling beauty products and beauty parlor. Now it is all depends on what our likings are, what desires we have cultivated, what our association is. However, we can fight with these desires, we can fight with these urges which comes from within. That is possible, and for that sadhana will help. Better sadhana we perform, better discrimination we will have. Simple. More sincere sadhana, more the discrimination we will have. Now within gunas also, a sattva guni person will have more discretion naturally. However, even they will be having limitations. So because of non-performance of sadhana, sattva guni person, when he start performing sadhana, his discrimination, power to differentiate and power to separate things becomes phenomenally increased, and then he practically does not get impacted by the urges which comes from within. They act on us. He remains unaffected by those urges very easily. If when a sattva person who is strong in sadhana, but others are completely under the spell of the sadhana, spell of these modes. And this is what happens to these people. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness, but action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in mode of ignorance result in foolishness. Rajasastu phalam dukkham agyanam tamasa phalam. And what about the satvika? Satvikam nirmalam phalam karmana sakrutasyahu. So satvikam nirmalam phalam, rajasastu phalam dukkham, agyanam tamasa phalam. Rajas ka phala is dukkha and agyana is a phala of tama. Acting in tama is agyana. Agyana is darkness, foolishness. Prabhupada translate it as foolishness. Prabhupada gives a lot of elaborate explanation on the tamoguni person and rajoguni person. What happens to them? Now these are immediate effects. Last session we saw, when you leave body in a particular mode, what happens? You go upwards, you stay where you are, and you can go downwards. And therefore we understand that it's very important to understand these modes and which are influencing us, and make sure that we are making everything, all our efforts should be to progress from at least tamoguna to rajoguna and rajoguna to satvaguna. At least we should eliminate tamoguna out of our life. There we will need sleep. To that extent, tamoguna will be there in everybody's life as long as we are alive. Sleeping for 6 hours, 7 hours is what tamoguna is, and that is fine. We are acquiring this body. We will remain in this body till the end of our current life. That is tamoguna. That is okay. This is a bare minimum tamoguna that we should hope to have, and rest, we should switch either in satvaguna and operate a satvaguna mix with rajoguna, not towards leaning towards rajoguna, leaning towards tamoguna. That's very dangerous. Now, so because then with this only we will be able to control what consciousness we are developing and which desires we are cultivating, and whatever those desires that we end up manifesting at the moment of our death, we will get birth accordingly. But and hence, it's very important that we learn about these gunas and we act on that knowledge. Now, thus, Prabhupada says in purport, thus Bhagavad Gita says that in any activity performed under the spell of the material passion, mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be there may be little so-called mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is not actual happiness. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukha yonaya evate antavanta antavanta itu kanteya nateshu ramate buddha. Buddhas do not delight in things which are temporary in nature. So the wise go for what is eternal, what is permanent. The happiness, wise also want happiness, and Buddha, foolish people also want happiness. So this is how the differentiation happens. That one chooses a happiness which is of permanent nature or a long-term nature. One chooses happiness which is of very very brief moments, but and that too of a lower grade. So this is what Prabhupada says, that I have this house, I have this money, but this is not actual happiness. Why? Because we never took birth to buy a house. Our objective of taking birth is not to buy a house. Our objective is to be different, has to be something different. We'll figure out that as we go along. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge, and therefore all his activities result in present misery. And afterwards he will go on towards animal life. Animal life is always miserable. Although under the spell of illusory energy, Maya, the animals do not understand this. Slaughtering, Prabhupada now talk about slaughtering poor animals is also due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers do not know that in future the animal will have to have a human body suitable to kill them. It has to have a body suitable to kill them. That is the law of nature. That is the law of the state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state controlled by Supreme Lord. Now there is India, and India has certain law, Indian Penal Code, and so on and so forth. So we are all Indians, who all citizens living in this country are bound by those law. By that particular law, and that is understood, that is accepted. What is not understood, what is not accepted is Krishna is owner and controller of the entire universe, and he also has made certain laws, and his laws says that he's seed giving father of all the living entities. Wherever there is life, he is the seed giving father. Now in India, if I kill another human being, I will be jailed, or I can even be hanged under the current law. And Krishna says that what makes you think that the same law cannot apply to the larger audience, to the larger universe? So from universal standpoint, Krishna Prabhupada says, Krishna, every living entity, every living creature is children of Krishna. But people, Prabhupada says that, but because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state controlled by Krishna. Every living creature is a son of Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant being killed. One has to pay for the same. So indulgence in animal killing for the taste of tongue is the grossest kind of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals because God has supplied so many nice things. If one indulges in meat eating anyway, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance and making his future very dark. Prabhupada goes on to uh, talk about about cow killing. Now, killing animals, any animals for the purpose of eating is Prabhupada is condemning, and the worst can be nothing can be worse than killing cow for eating, for satisfying the urges of your tongue. In modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It is to be understood then that human society is advancing in wrong direction and is clearing path for its own condemnation. A civilization which guides its citizen to become animals in their next life is certainly not a human civilization. One may say where we are saying that you should become animal, but Prabhupada says that that's how the law of nature will work. Now animal will have to have a superior similar body using in which they will be able to kill you. So as animal eaters, we have a very as animal eaters, the population has extremely low chance of escaping the cycle of birth, or practically no chance of escaping the cycle of birth and going back to Krishna. So the present human civilization is of course grossly misled by the mode of passion and ignorance. It is very dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save humanity from the greatest danger. The example we saw, this is Times Square in New York City. uh, why this is a place of misery? The place of misery, it is place of misery because here the people are largely in the passion mode of passion and mode of ignorance, which ultimately leads to misery. uh, the it is impregnated with misery. So if it is not the question that if somebody will suffer, it's a question of when somebody will suffer. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when, because suffering is compulsory for everyone and everyone is going to suffer in this. So the purpose of human life is to attain Krishna and end the cycle of birth, and that purpose cannot be achieved in mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. Also purely mode of goodness also cannot give it, what to speak of mode of passion and ignorance. Now, uh, some may argue that what if my purpose of life is to enjoy, and there is so much variety available in the world, so much facility available in the world, and what if I want to enjoy birth after birth? What if that was my purpose of life? That is my purpose of life is to enjoy, because I don't know if I will ever have next birth. I will not remember that. So today is what I have, and I have all the facilities that are created by great scientists using which I can enjoy. There are so many beauty products which are made by various corporates, various companies. So many other medicines are available by which using which I can enhance my look, I can enhance my attractiveness. So why not go out there and enjoy? Why at all I should restrain myself? Why should I restrain myself from um, from 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 enjoying the world? Because of this enjoying mentality only I have landed up in this world, so might as well enjoy whatever I facilities that are available to me as per my karma. Now the problem in this argument is very simple. We could have we have to have two three things, that eternity, knowledge and bliss. The knowledge and bliss are also characteristics of soul. A soul which is fully under the influence of tamoguna will think like this, and rajoguna and tamoguna will only be able to think like this. But if one has little bit of sattva, then one is forced to think about the purpose of life. Why are we here? If and this comes from the come from the observation, because one is has a the knowledge potency, the knowledge inquiry is natural to the soul. Soul has knowledge. One of the quality of soul is to have knowledge, to learn, to ask questions, to inquire. Now that is one of the quality characteristics of soul. So soul naturally in sattva guna is able to, so in the rajoguna and tamoguna they will ask question, what I can enjoy next, how I can improve my enjoyment, how I can get more employment, more enjoyments in less time. So the inquiry is there, but these are misdirected. In Sattva Guna, inquiry can be how I can regulate myself. Why am I tempted by these various things? And so on and so forth. So Sattva Guni person can also inquire about they can observe the world around us, and they can make sense of world around us. That the law of gravity, there are laws in the material nature, and laws function perfectly. So the world is not a chaos. The world around is not operating like a in a chaos. The world is operating absolutely in a systematic manner. So there is meaning in everything. So when Newton saw a fruit falling, he didn't say that it has been falling all the time, so why worry? But being in different guna, he could ask a question, that what made the fruit fall? And then the answer was not very easily available. Doesn't mean that answer does not existed. He eventually developed day one he would not have got the answer that there is a law of gravity. There was no akashvani that happened ki Newton, this is because there is a law of gravity and this is the formula using which you can calculate gravity. All of that was discovered by him because he worked with the assumption that the nature makes sense. It's not nonsense. Nature operates systematically. There are laws under in, so otherwise why should matter operate under law? I am a person, I am an Indian citizen, I should operate under law because I'm conscious being. A law is made for me. I should pay income tax. I should not jump signals. I should wear helmet wherever I travel on a two-wheeler. I should not kill others. That's criminal. I should not cheat others. I should not. So there are various laws applicable to me. Me means not my body. None of the laws are applicable to the matter. They are applicable to me because I'm. And who am I? I'm soul. The soul's living entities have laws applicable to them. Human entities have laws applicable to them. Why should matter follow law? Why should rain follow pattern? Why should sun follow a law? Why should why when I drop this object, why it should follow the law of gravity? So now, so there are, so everything in this world is so systematically designed, so meticulously designed. Then our life itself should also not have some purpose, some design, some higher purpose. Why should we be made to born, made to suffer, made to grow old, made to get diseased, and made to die, all against our wish? If we were to have complete freedom, I would not have want to become 48-year-old today. I would have probably wanted to remain 20-year-old, 21-year-old with all my whatever the looks that I had, or I could have wanted to have the best looks then in the entire world, and so would have been the desire of all of you. Now, now that does not happen. So that does not happen because we are forced to take birth, we are forced to grow, we reproduce, we are forced to get old, we are forced to get diseased, and we are forced to die. Now, if world is meant for enjoyment and God wanted us to enjoy, then he should have given us eternal life to enjoy. Why our life ends? Why we, our capacity, when we grow old, the same eyes using which I enjoyed earlier stop giving me enjoyment. Then I had to wear specs, then I had to wear lenses, I had to get my eyes operated, I had to suffer. I had hairs which I would flaunt in my group as and but eventually I start losing those hairs becomes gray, then I keep coloring those hairs, but eventually they also go. And eventually I'm forced to uh, I'm forced to give up those things which earlier gave me pleasure. Now that causes suffering. Then one may in sattva guna may feel less suffering, but no matter which guna you operate in, you will be suffering. You are suffering, and that is undeniable truth. So, what to speak of mode of passion and mode of ignorance, whom we will see later in this section? That mode of passion causes raga or attachment, and trishna or the greed to have more. It leads to lust or greed, hankering for possessing more, controlling more, and enjoying more, having more. So a person in Rajoguna will always be busy. He will have no time because he will want to do something to get more of one of the things, and will always be unhappy because for enjoying also he will not have peace of mind. He will not have santosh. So yesterday somebody asked questions. 17.16 question was that that section will study that as we progress in Bhagavad Gita learnings. It's a called austerity of mind. That section is called what is the austerity of mind, and different people under different gunas, how they perform that austerity. Now, austerity, one may think that we fast on Ekadashi, we perform austerity for our body and consciousness and everything. But there is an austerity of mind also. So sometimes Prabhupada used to Prabhupada has given us a slogan that chant and be happy. Now, chant and be happy is one slogan and one sentence, and one means leading to can be interpreted that having a cause and effect relationship. That if you chant nicely, you will become happy, and that is true. However, it can be also looked at in two different ways. Be happy is a separate instruction also. That is austerity of mind. How we will become happy when things are not happening according to your plan. Be happy, because then by learning, by knowing that these are happening according to the plan of Krishna, according to Krishna's plans, according to Krishna's sanction, this is happening because you deserved it. Because you probably could have got much more adversity, much more suffering, but because of Krishna's mercy, you're getting less mercy. Therefore, you should tolerate. Because of increased tolerance, you can choose to be happy. You can choose to be equipoised in the success and distress both, so that the modes and the cause and effect of those modes do not affect us. So now, but if one is not in this situation, then he will be unsatisfied and unhappy no matter how much he will possess. The mode of ignorance cause badness, laziness, and make one foolish, push one to commit even more sinful actions. In the mode of ignorance, I may think that alcohol is the solution, or charas, ganja, or brown sugar is the solution to all problems. I will forget all my problems if I indulge in any one of these. Now this is ignorance. Now this knowledge and thinking like this itself is ignorance, and actually acting on this thought also is bigger ignorance. If I have acted in past, I will be forced to act again on this thought, and that may lead me to deeper ignorance. So ignorance is leading this person in the mode of passion, or ignorance, to deeper ignorance. So this is degrading, eventually can become animal, towards animalistic lifestyle. We spoke about Western world, talking specifically about them. People in Western world are largely attracted and attached to the superior facilities for eating, mating, sleeping, defending, and comforts for these four activities. They're right from roads to bridges to cleanliness, everything is created for that purpose, to improve your standard of eating, mating, sleeping, defending. And so this is like creating a heavenly experience on the earth itself, giving you superior facilities which doesn't exist anywhere on the earth. And there's a competition in the Western countries, developed countries, to improve their respective, improve the qualities of enjoyment for their respective citizens. And this is how, this is the background to that. So this practically, so if the one is in the midst of all enjoyments, one is in the Disneyland, for example, where everything is there for my choice. When I always wanted to be in Disneyland, I wanted to play this, I wanted to do that, eat this. Does there are hundreds of things that I wanted to do always in my life, which are present in front of me. Now, in this situation, performing austerity, studying for my exam, sitting inside in the midst of all these facilities becomes difficult. Therefore, restraining senses, controlling mind, and all the Brahmanical qualities which one has to acquire by becoming humble, by becoming by cultivating knowledge, cultivating experiential knowledge, performing sadhana bhakti. These are the things for required to be performed for moving a person from even rajaguna to tamoguna. What to speak of sattva guna and shuddha sattva. So for becoming a sattvic person, one has to bring in these aspects, and these facilities itself makes it impossible for person to even think about, controlling one's mind. Because why? Because everywhere there are temptations. Everywhere there are things which I always desired and I always wanted. They are available within my grasp, within my reach, and around me, everybody is actually doing the same thing. everybody is chasing those illusions and those facilities for enjoyments. So in this situation, sitting here, it becomes practically very difficult, very remote for one to even start coming to sattva guna from rajoguna. Advancing to sattva guna from rajoguna itself becomes very difficult. What to speak of coming to the level of shuddha sattva and becoming transcendental to the gunas, which becomes a remotely, which becomes very impossible kind of a task. So this illusion becomes the cause of misery when law of nature will eventually act. So these people may feel temporary at happiness, and there will be happiness because all of these are energies of Krishna, so they will feel experience some happiness by using iPhone 14 when the rest of the world is using iPhone 13. A majority of the rest of the world is still using iPhone 13, but I am using iPhone 14. Now there is advanced product in my hand, there is advanced facility for communicating in my hand, and that is going to give me this is going to give me happiness till advance, till somebody comes up with a better phone, or maybe iPhone itself launches iPhone 15 or 16 or 17, and eventually then I will the same phone, I will lose my happiness. I will lose because people will lose their appreciation for my having iPhone 14 because now they know that people have iPhone 15, 16 and 17 or whatever. People have better phones than what I have. Then once the people's appreciation for me go away, my happiness goes away. So not that the so the what makes brings happiness to people is not are not the things of this world, but the appreciation that we get from other people for us possessing these things, these possessions of so these possessions alone does not give us happiness, but when we or people around us appreciate we possessing these things, that gives us happiness, and that will go away eventually when we will not have, we permanently will not have all the best of the things in our hand, and eventually we will have our, we will lose out our own ability to enjoy, also to enjoy and exist here, because of the, we will get caught up by the old age, we'll get caught up by diseases, we will get, we will be caught by death, and we will be caught by birth again. And within operating in this cycle of birth, we will be facing three tapas: the adi daivik, adi adhyatmik, and adi daivik tapa, and Adi Bhautik Tapa. So Adi Devi, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik Tapa. There's three miseries, threefold miseries, and along with the disease, old age, disease, birth, death, and birth, will become the ultimately the cause of happiness. If none of these things troubled us, then this will definitely trouble us, and we will be extremely agitated when the moment of death will come, when you will learn that you will no longer be in a position to enjoy what you have been enjoying. Now this can bring a lot of pain to a soul, because soul's desire to enjoy, he has not been able to give up. It's just that he's been restrained by the bodily capacities to enjoy. So if body allowing, he will want to have sex even at the age of 90, he will not want to give up that activity also. But that's how and then when it will not be available, it will not be available in the material form, or at the bodily level, he will not be able to function and perform it, then that will lead to great frustration. And so the point is now such people have no desire or impetus to go back to Krishna. They have no impetus even to become sattvic. What to speak of, becoming Shuddha Sattvic and going back to Krishna, pursuing their path back to Krishna. So meat eating, animal killing, particularly cow killing, alcohol, other intoxicants are keeping people in this part of world in darkness of ignorance. Now they believe that these indulgences will bring them happiness, and when they act on those belief, they go further into happiness. Again, the Krishna's evaluation of somebody's success is his ability to come back to him. Krishna's definition of success is by yena mam upayantite, when he, which he tell in 10.10 of Bhagavad Gita, which we have studied, that Krishna says that uh, Dadami buddhi yogam tvam yena mam upayantite. I will give them extra intelligence by which they can come to me. Now, this is definition of success for which Krishna has given for all of us. This is Krishna's plan for all of us. Anybody's actions who are which are not performed in line with this plan are contrary to the plan, are working in the opposite direction, taking people or the souls away from Krishna. And Krishna does not really appreciate that, which makes the path of returning to Krishna difficult for those souls. So these souls may perpetually find themselves in this material world, life after life, and Brahmanda after Brahmanda. They will have no. That will be very unfortunate, is what Krishna is saying. This is defeating the purpose of human life, for which life has been given. If we are in the train, we want to go to Delhi, and we should be our primary objective. Our objective is to go to Delhi. Our principal objective should be to get into a train which is going to Delhi, get on the path which lead us to Delhi. Once we find ourselves properly placed inside the train which is actually going to Delhi, then we can think about facilities that are available to us while in our travel. Now, depending on our previous karma, we may get different facilities because of our capacity to pay increases. And we may have, somebody have all the facilities, and some may have little bit of these facilities or all of these facilities, little bit of all of these facilities. Some may have very little or negligible facilities. Some may have even no facilities. One may just, but as long as they are sitting in the train which is going towards Delhi, which is our objective, they are okay. They are well placed. However, one may obtain best of class facilities. It's a first class AC compartment with cushions, with attendant, best of food being served for free, and all the facilities are wonderfully arranged and provided to us in a compartment which is attached to a train which is going to Chennai. Now, if our objective is not to go to Chennai, our objective is to go to Delhi, sitting in a comfortable, lavish, luxurious coach, going to Chennai is foolishness, is not going to serve us purpose. So as long as we are in the right place, hence, we should not get tempted to get into a wrong train going in the opposite direction. And that can be very unfortunate. If we use our opportunity to do this, then it will be misuse of human life. So another important verse which we will study right now is where Krishna himself speak about Janma Mrityu Jara Dukha. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Instead of that, Janma Mrityu Jara Dukha. In 13.20, 13.8 to 20, that he has used this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi as a combination. So when the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy the nectar of this life, nectar even in this life. Now, that is what the objective is. Objective is to enjoy. Objective is to have happiness. Objective is to experience bliss. Krishna says there is a way to obtain that bliss in this world. When you follow the right process, you will still following right process. Also, you will be able to enjoy nectar even in this life. What to speak of afterlife, because then you will transcend the modes and go and attain Krishna and go and experience the same spiritual bliss that we are experiencing in bits and pieces in this material world while we are practicing bhakti. That bliss we can experience uninterrupted, unlimited way. Prabhupada writes in the purport that how can one stay in the transcendental position even in this body? In full Krishna consciousness is explained in this verse. The Sanskrit word dehi means embodied. dehinosmin yatha dehe, is the one who is obtained the body, the one who is embodied. Now the soul is embodied. The driver is sitting in the car and then he becomes driver. So soul, as long as he's in the body, is referred to as dehino or embodied. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from influence of modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into the devotional service. Now, performing devotional service, beginning to perform devotional service, it all starts with humility, amanitva. These are the qualities which Krishna, qualities of knowledge, which Krishna has explained in the 13th chapter from verse 8 to 12. That, and it all starts with amanitva, or humility, humbleness, submission, humble submission to the guru. And why guru? Because dadami buddhi yogam tvam yena mam upayantite. Now this is not readily available. It has to be earned. It has to be, this knowledge has to be earned. How? By getting special intelligence from Krishna. To whom Krishna gives this intelligence? Those who perform tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. Satata yuktanam, those who continuously perform devotional service with love. Loving devotional service, those who perform, only devotees can perform, nobody else can perform. One who wants, who is coming to Krishna for promotion or marriage or some material means, he will not be in a position to perform devotional service in a loving way. He may become happy if his desires are fulfilled, but there won't be the love. There will be a trading mentality with Krishna also. He will not come to Krishna kevala bhakti, in a mood of kevala bhakti or pure devotional service. A pure devotee will love and serve Krishna without any purpose, ahetuki. And that's what Krishna is saying, that Prabhupada is mentioning over here, that uh, such person will eventually go to spiritual sky, and he will be happy while even in this world, while operating in this world also, because he will be free from the influence of modes of material nature. How? Because he will, all actions that he will perform are for pleasure of Krishna, or for making Krishna happy, or for coming closer to Krishna. That's all. Simple. But why it is difficult? Because of the entanglements that we all experience in the modes of nature. These are real forces, subtle forces, non-visible, but they actually bound us. They bound us, but at the same time, they don't bound us as if criminals are bound in jail, in shackles. Now, criminals put shackles, who are very dangerous, considered to be very dangerous, can be shackled and tied down to one single position where the movements are extremely restricted. Now, our bondage is more like a puppeteer's bondage, where the strings are there and strings are long enough, where we can do some little movements here and there, feeling that we are free, but eventually we are not free, because the strings, though they are kept loose, and that time we are able to move our hands a little bit, but whenever they are pulled, whenever the urges strike us, we are forced to go into the flow, and we are controlled by modes. We are controlled by largely by our mind, and we are unable to exercise control over mind unless we have strong sadhana. So transcend mode, transcend life. In the Prabhupada has combined these four verses, so 22, 23, 24, 25, and given a summary, Krishna, and then we'll see two more verses and towards the end after this. We'll see the translation. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O son of Pandu, he who does not hate elimination He who does not hate illumination, attachment, delusion, when they are present, or long for them when they are absent, who is unwavering and undisturbed, um, even though undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treat alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Now, Prabhupada, Krishna has described. Arjuna has asked a question before this, and in response to this, Krishna has described all the qualities that one can notice in a person who has transcended the mode. Because I may say that I have transcended the mode, but how will anybody consider this to be true? What is the proof of it? The proof of is when I act in this manner. The thrust of this is having equality in everything, equality in whatever actions we do, whatever people honor, the equality at bodily level, physical level, at a mental level, emotional level, and at all levels. Basically, you are at a physical level, you see a lump of earth, stone, that is stone, and a piece of gold with equal eye. You are neither desirous of gold or nor desirous of you don't become happy when you get gold, and when you don't become sad when you get earth or stone. Now, this is, we must understand uh, who is being described in this section. The section 13 starts with a jnani who is trying to understand what is the absolute truth. A jnani who is trying to figure out how to end the cycle of birth, who also understand that he is eternal, his core, and he's a soul, spiritual at the core, but being caught up in this material world, he's also trying to find out how to escape this world. And this he's trying to learn through altering actions that he perform under the influence of different modes. now Now, this person also understand that he has to transcend, that there are modes. Now, he has understood that there are modes that are real modes that exist, and those modes one need to transcend in order to be able to uh, become peaceful, become happy while living in this world. If one wants to become properly happy, then one has to transcend the mode. As long as modes are disturbing one, it's impossible to become happy. And these are the qualities Krishna has described for a person who is who has already transcended the mode. So what is the equal vision? How do we understand equal vision? Now, this has been talked about. Pandita Samadarshina, fifth chapter also we have discussed this, so we'll not spend much time on this. When I see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna, then I see my wife, my children, my neighbors, my people of my countrymen. They are all part and parcel of Krishna, and my wife and children are I become the caretaker of this property. This property belongs to Krishna. They belong to Krishna. They belongs to the spiritual world also along with me. But they are being entrusted to me in this life to be taken care of, to be provided for. So it's my duty to provide them for, because they are part and parcel of Krishna. And I should also not provide them for their material things. I should also take care of their emotional things. I should also take care of their mental things, and ultimately I also should take care of their spiritual well-being by giving them Krishna consciousness. If I fail to do the ultimate, giving them Krishna consciousness. If I fail to do, but I do everything else, all my efforts are wasted because I fail in my duty in bringing one soul closer to Krishna. When I when I want to see them equally, I don't want to get attached to them so that I can bring them closer to Krishna. If I get affectionate, if I child does not want to take medicine, but out of affection, if I allow child not to take medicine, child will become more sick. Child, if child, no child likes to study, but if I, out of affection, not hurting child's sentiment, if I allow it to play unlimitedly, then child will be bad student throughout his school and will become nikamma at the end of when he will grow up, and he will blame you. Why you never forced me to study? You should have known that without studying I will not be able to operate effectively in this world. So this is the nature, and but so this is the nature of this is how we can develop equal vision, that everyone is part, everything and everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. The living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. If they are interested with us, we should take care of them so that in such a way that they are coming closer to Krishna, inching closer to Krishna. And if we have things in our possession, be it gold, be it stone, we should see to it that how we can use those things for service of, in the service of Krishna in one way or the other. And that way, when we act with this objective uh, of bringing, getting ourselves closer to Krishna, ourselves by restricting, by cultivating right desires, this desire that I want, I am a soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna, separated from him. Now, Krishna has lovingly given me this human body and given me all the facilities so that I can practice bhakti, I can practice sense control, and I can inch towards Krishna. I can do everything to go closer to Krishna personally myself. I do the same for others, my family members also. And then whatever possessions that I have, using my Krishna given skills, abilities, talents, whatever I have earned, whatever I have accumulated, I understand that all that belongs to Krishna. I am only a caretaker for these things as well, material things as well. So what is best use of these things is to please Krishna, make Krishna happy, use it in his service some way or the other, so that I don't get entangled in this use, and I remain free. I remain continue to remain free from this, from the entanglement of using it for my pleasure. So while by using everything for Krishna's service, but taking all efforts to bring people who are under my caretakership, who I am supposed to take care, and towards Krishna, and doing the same thing for me myself also, I am able to serve the purpose of my life. My life is now becoming successful, and thereby I can maintain equal vision, because I have not been, when something is taken away from me, wealth is taken away from me. Wealth is not something that I was born with, so it anyway belonged to Krishna, and Krishna has taken it away. So there is no reason for me to lament. When a person, our beloved people are taken away from us, we know that they anyway didn't belong to us. Now they are not our children, they are not our parent, they are not our spouses in all the lives. We are spouses in this life, we are parent in this life, we are children of somebody in this life. In the previous life, somebody else were their children, somebody else, they had some other sets of relative, and in the next birth we are going to have another sets of relatives, so it's not going to get synchronized well. And it's, so our attachment to them should be limited. With this knowledge of Krishna at the center, we have to serve them nicely, so that, so as to bring them closer to Krishna, feed them with prasad, help them become nice devotee, use whatever we possess in service of Krishna, without worrying about how much is more coming, how much is going. All that we have to take care of it as a caretaker. A cashier count cash accurately. but he does not take cash back his back home, because he's only a caretaker. Similarly, we are caretaker of piece of land we might be having, or gold jewelry that we must be possessing, bank balance that we must be owning, a luxury car that we must be driving. We are all caretaker of all that, and none of this will disappear when we will leave this body. Land will not disappear because this land belongs to so and so. He is no more, that land is no more. Does it happen that way? Somebody else will claim ownership. If not, government will claim ownership. And even if government does not claim ownership, Krishna will claim ownership because it actually belongs to him. So we should operate in this world without getting entangled in the possessive mentality and enjoying mentality. We should use everything to the extent required for our survival, for our subsistence, and for our pleasure as well, as long as it is done in connection with Krishna. By chanting and singing and dancing in Hare Krishna Mahamantra, uh, we also get pleasure. By taking honoring prasad, we get pleasure. We get, by hearing Krishna Katha, we get pleasure. By meeting devotees and interacting, associating with devotees, we get pleasure. So the pleasure is not to be ignored. Pleasure is what one will always strive for. That is the innate nature of soul, is to become happy, blissful. But enjoying in the right way is the is the guidance that we learn from Bhagavad Gita. And those who don't follow Bhagavad Gita, they miss that guidance, and then they also continue to incur karma. Two more verses, and they are the last two verses of this chapter. Mamcha yo अव्यभिचारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते स गुणान समित्येत्य समित्याता समित समतित्यान ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. समतित्यान ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. माम च यो अव्यभिचारेण. Avyabhichareణ is like without deviation, with in full service, without any unfailing, without avyabhicharena is unfailing, without missing out. Bhakti yogena sevate, without missing out on, or this is equal similar to ananya chetaha satata yomam smarati nityasha, or satata kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata, or tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. So bhakti yogena sevate, bhakti yoga. This is the only verse in the entire Bhagavad Gita where Bhakti Yoga is used in as a one word. Bhakti Yogena Sevate. The Bhakti Yoga, with Bhakti Yoga people seva karte hai Krishna ki. Mam cha. Very clear that one who engage in my service in Bhakti Yoga without any without failing. Now sa gunan samatityan tityan sa gunan samatityan will transcend the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. So one should not be disturbed by the activities of modes. Prabhupada writes in the purport that one should not be disturbed by the activities of modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna conscious activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in 7th chapter, where Krishna says that 14th verse, Krishna says that what was so Krishna says that mayam etam tesham satata nam. Very beautiful verse.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. That is Devi Esha Guna.
Devi Esha Gunevayi Mama Maya Duratvaya. And what is the next verse? Mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So this has been explained while discussing the 7th chapter. So Prabhupada gives that cross reference that Once you mam evam mam mam eva ye prapadyante, if one surrenders to me, maya metam tarantite, one can cross over the ocean of maya. Otherwise it is Daiviya Esha Gunamai, Mama Maya Duratvaya. He owns the Maya. He says, Mama Maya, it's my Maya. So it's not that Maya operate through modes, mind, and the modes are her weapons. The three strings that we saw, and these three strings are operating within our mind. And so Maya is testing us all the time. So Krishna says, if mam eva ya prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So, but if you will surrender to me. Now here, Krishna has repeated that instruction, that bhakti yogena sevate. So if you become my devotee and serve in that mood, perform activities for my pleasure, perform activities for with an intention to come closer to me, in line with the instructions given by me, then these modes will not impact you. So to be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire qualities with Krishna, equality with Krishna in terms of qualities. So Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the supreme, as gold particles are part and parcel of gold mine. So gold particle also has all the qualities of gold mine. What the gold has in the mine, but they are in small in quantity, while gold mine is huge in quantity. Thus the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, or as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise there would be no question of bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga needs a bhakta and object of bhakti. Object of bhakti is Krishna, and a bhakta is performing bhakti, and there is a yoga, there is a connection between the two. So the two, individuality of both the object of worship and the worshipper, never is not dissolved ever, will always be there. So so that's again that's the impersonal. This is a message for the impersonalists who believes that it will all become one. Prabhupada brings out that distinction, that bhakti yogena sevate. To perform bhakti yoga continuously, you need both object of bhakti and the performer of bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means that the Lord is there, devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Now, all the three has to be there. Very, very important that one should never think that one's existence will be over, and one will have no other activity to be done in the spiritual once they end the cycle of birth. That is not the case. The individualities are maintained. There is individuality. Therefore, the individuality of two person is present in the supreme personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning to bhakti yoga. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualification. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman, or freed from material contamination, to be able to serve Krishna in the spiritual world. So, how we can go to spiritual world? How you can become a personal servant of king? One must acquire some qualification. Similarly, how can one go to spiritual world? One must acquire qualification. What is that qualification? The qualification is to become free from material contamination. Free from material contamination means acting only for pleasing Krishna. All actions are for the pleasure of Krishna, which was mentioned. To be in Krishna consciousness or devotional service means to acquire equality of Krishna. Yeah, we saw that. That acting in bhakti yoga means only acting for the pleasure of Lord. So last verse, and again very important verse, Prabhupada has quoted. This has been quoted in very discussions. Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. Now this is the important part of this verse. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is constitutional position of the ultimate happiness. Another verse where similar point is being made is in the Brahma Samhita. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti. Yasya prabha, prabha is effulgence, prabhavato is the one who is giving that effulgence, one who is because of whom the effulgence is manifested. The Shakti and the Shaktiman, or the Prabha and the Prabha Prakashman. There's a person who is creating this effulgence out of his, from whose body this effulgence is coming out. And the effulgence in and itself is useless, because if you ignore the person from whose body that effulgence is coming out. So here Krishna says that Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti. So I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of the ultimate happiness. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of the transcendental realization. Paramatma, or the super soul, is the middle and the second stage of transcendental realization. The supreme personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and impersonal Brahman are within supreme person. So the prabha is the effulgence coming out of the body of Supreme Lord, and then there is a sight of Supreme Lord, and then there are activities which are performed with Supreme Lord. These are the three stages in which one can realize Supreme Lord or the absolute truth. One may get attracted to the light that is coming out of body of the Supreme Lord. But when you once you attain that, if a jnani go and attain that, there is Brahmavadi jnani. If he is a Brahmavadi, he is not offensive towards Krishna. He's cooperating with Krishna, and if they ultimately are able to attain the 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 spirit, the Brahman effulgence, they will not have any activity to do there, which means either unless they are guided by devotees to go further and pursue Paramatma feature or the sight of the Supreme Lord, they will fall down. If that does not happen, then they will fall down. If they cannot go upwards, then they cannot stay in the Brahman effulgence for long because of the lack of activity, lack of ananda, lack of appreciation. They will fall down. They will develop a desire to come down to the material world. One may actually transcend the effulgence stage and may get a sight of Supreme Lord by performing sadhana, by performing dhyana yoga, and one may perform a lot of austerities and actually get darshan of Supreme Lord inside within their heart, or within in front of them. Now this is Paramatma realization of Supreme. Now this is progression. This is a progression from effulgence only to actually seeing a person from whose body that effulgence is coming. Now understanding this also has better experience and more knowledge. That at first stage I am only happy to see effulgence. I don't care about from where it is originating. I think this effulgence is what exists ultimately, and there is nothing beyond this effulgence. Later I realized that okay, this effulgence is there, but there is a person from whose body this effulgence is coming. Then naturally I become curious to know who that person is and can I see that person. And then when we get sight of that person, this is what dhyana yogi ultimately achieve. They get sight of Supreme Lord within their heart, and they go into samadhi. Now this stage is a progression from the previous one, where there is more knowledge and there is more experience, there is more realization. Now at this stage also, there is no reciprocation between the two. There's no relationship between the two. So one see and one feels happy, and after that what? After that, again, one may, if one may not progress to a next stage where one come to a realization that This supreme person and we, now we both have spiritual in nature, we both are spiritual in nature, and we are small in quantity, he is large in quantity. And there is a relationship between the two. Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha. We glorify Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur because he explained us the Krishna Sambandha Vijnana. We glorify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he brought that relationship aspect between a soul and a super soul, soul and supreme soul, a soul and Krishna, Jiva and Krishna, in the center stage of discussion by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is a process of realizing that relationship and experiencing joy in that relationship while we are in the present in the material world itself. And so that we can get glimpses of spiritual bliss, spiritual happiness, which should motivate us to go to the spiritual world, to develop a desire to go to the spiritual world. And with this desire, then we can mold all our activities, make them Krishna centric, and rise above the mode, transcend all the modes, and eventually leave our body in the Shuddha Sattva mode, by the prayerful mood, in the humble mood, and go back to Krishna. Example, material example can be halwa being cooked in kitchen. The fragrance of halwa is the prabha coming out of the body of Supreme Lord, or the light effulgence coming out of body of Supreme Lord. Now halwa has to be there in order for us to get a fragrance of halwa, which goes, even if halwa is being cooked in kitchen, is goes spread across the entire home, even to the neighbor's home if Mumbai homes are very small. So even it can enter the neighbor's home, neighbors can come to know that you are cooking suji halwa today. So this fragrance is equivalent of the effulgence coming out of body of Supreme Lord. The sight of halwa is like darshan that dhyana yogi may get by after striving extremely hard to perform sadhana. Concentrate, control mind, control senses, and at the end of it, one may actually get darshan of Supreme Lord as a Paramatma in his heart. So getting darshan is a progression. Now you have fragrance as well as sight, darshan of the halwa in this our example, but the that is incomplete because there's no realization of halwa. Halwa's realization is not just limited to its fragrance and size and sight, but it's in its taste, and the taste happens when the rasas are exchanged. When we put a spoonful of halwa into our mouth as prasad and taste it, it enters into the each and every corner of our mouth, giving us sweet sensation. The juices flow, goes inside our, and then we are able to relish the entire experience of halwa. It has both. It has fragrance, it has sight, and it also has taste experience of halwa, and which makes it complete experience. So this is what we are supposed to get using our human form of life. Anything less than this is will become incomplete or not fully utilize human form of life. So modes exist, mind exists, just like we analyze our subtle body in intelligence, mind, and modes and minds are practically inseparable. Functionally they actually work within one domain itself. So very difficult to separate unless our sadhana is strong. We cannot understand if our modes are talking, mind is talking, or soul is talking, or it's whose voice it is. Whatever voice that may come from within, who's speaking, it's very difficult to identify unless we have developed, unless we have done a lot of strong sadhana. And the better the sadhana, better the ability to discriminate, better the ability to identify whose voice we are hearing. And the voices will continue to be there, but they will become weaker if our sadhana increases, becomes more powerful. So the modes exist, we must know how to deal with them. Modes are not static, they are dynamic. So they can change with association. We saw in the example, if we associate with tamoguni people too much. We could be in sattva guna, we will soon find ourselves in rajoguna and leaning towards tamoguna. Eventually we'll find ourselves in tamoguna just like others. So by association, easily modes can be transcended, change. They're dynamic in nature, and all of them are fighting for supremacy within. So there is a fight battle going on within our mind, where everybody is trying to overcome the other one, and the one whom we feed most by association and by action becomes more powerful and takes control of our mind, practically dictate terms with our mind. So there are long term and short term effects of modes which we must deal with. And a Gyani who has an initial desire to attain Brahman must accept the process of Bhakti Yoga. So this he also understands that without Bhakti Yoga, transcending mode is impossible, and hence he performed Bhakti. Now, for him, the object of Bhakti could be Krishna, or Krishna. With Krishna being an object, they may start performing Bhakti, but his objective is not to attain Krishna, because that aspect is still not clear to him as yet. But with the mercy of devotee, with the mercy of Lord Krishna himself, he can eventually get illuminated, enlightened, that Krishna is not just the object. Krishna is the ultimate objective. Krishna is the ultimate joy that one should pursue, and then make becoming Krishna conscious, or loving and serving Krishna becomes this Gyani's ultimate goal of life. And when he comes to that level, he becomes pure devotee. Then from then onwards, he will do everything for pleasure of Krishna. He will start performing devotional service wholeheartedly, loving and serving Krishna, and that will take him back to Krishna. That is proper use of human life. Everything uh, other than that is like sitting in a Chennai train when you had to go to Delhi. Is going to, no matter how comfortable that will be, it is going to defeat you in your meeting your objective. So the two facilities for hearing and chanting, which we should all make best use of, given our exposure to Bhakti Yoga, and the hearing and chanting in the morning, hearing in the evening. Please keep joining those throughout the week as much as possible, and stay Krishna conscious during entire week. Um, so we'll stop here. We'll see if there are any questions. I have to go. We have some guests unfortunately today. So maybe one or two questions we can deal with now. Or else, we may conclude today's session and meet next time, next week. Yeah, one or two questions or comments anybody has. Happy to accept, discuss those.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. So not to take most of your time, as usual, your class used to be amazing, and I don't hope that anybody would be having any question, because it's so elaborate, so it's made so simple. The complex topics are made so simple that one can understand that there is an urge to transcend the modes of material nature, and that is the sole purpose of life, and that can only be done. What I could conclude from all these times till I'm in this Krishna consciousness, with my little efforts, that only the associations of devotee and the guidance of devotee can help. Otherwise, bare reading of Bhagavad Gita or Shastras, it never takes us to the point which the acharyas or which the author of that particular scripture wants to make. So the it is the ultimate basis of anything to understand is the association of devotee and the guidance of devotee. Like you told so many points here in this. Like yesterday, His Grace Sitaram Prabhuji was mentioning the humility. You covered that. Then again, what that comes in third chapter, seventh chapter, and 10th chapter, means you traverse across the Srimad Bhagavad Gita to teach us that ultimately the urgency is to transcend the modes of material nature in order to serve Krishna in a loving and devotional mode. Just a simple query came to my mind, Prabhuji, when you mentioned that when we are the modes of material nature, we are judgmental. So when we are praising devotees, I hope that, because since a person like me is not in a has not yet transcended the modes. But when we praise the devotees, I hope that is not incurring any reaction onto us. That is my opinion actually, and I just wanted a quick opinion of your on that, or a quick correction on my opinion, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the nectarian session. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Uh, Praising devotees. So speaking our mind, heart is it's a so bhakti has the sharing of heart is also part of bhakti. Guhyam akhyati pruchatam. Uh, the six aspects of bhakti which are there, that bhunte bhojayate chaivam shadvidan priti lakshanam. The ददामि ददाति प्रतिगृह्णाति गुह्यम आख्यति पृच्छताम भुंते भोजयते चैवम षड्विधाम priti lakshanam. So amongst devotees these exchanges should happen. That's is mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita, nectar of instructions. Yes. The so if we genuinely feel enlightened, if we genuinely feel that we've been helped, then there is no harm in expressing our mind to that person. It purifies us. We did one experiment in our office where we said, we put all our staff in one cabin, one conference room, and asked everybody to praise each other, and it became a difficult task. Talking negative quality about negative qualities of others is easy. Praising others is difficult. That's what the learning that everybody took that way. So it shows your humility. However, if one has actually felt the way we is the what I'm saying is there shouldn't be too much of gap in what we feel and what we speak. As long as that is there, that is not there, then you expressing heart is acceptable. People will be happy. People will not expect it, but they will accept it. Somebody will criticize it, that also they will accept, because they are serving Krishna. They are not doing it for their personal glory. So as long as we feel genuinely moved, touch, and feel illuminated, enlightened, learn, we should express our heart. And more than that is to follow the instructions given by the teachers. If we may shower a lot of praise but don't act on the instruction, that will not be appropriate. Then that can become then so that these are some of my thoughts. But and these are very practically also we can understand that as long as because the the it comes with mercy. So we've received bhakti because of our seniors, and they've given us service, so we are trying to do our best. We are sharing what we have heard from our seniors, and what is spoken and written by Srila Prabhupada. So it's parampara is going on. It's not that I have created anything out of my own intelligence. If that were to be the case, then none of you should have been here, because I'm imperfect. I have 100 imperfections and 100 defects in myself. So when you are praising me, I will pass it on to my parampara, and that's the mood in which we hear. But again, when you praise, whenever you are felt genuinely affected, you should express. There's nothing wrong in that, but more convicting way of demonstrating that is by acting on the instructions, acting on whatever the teaching to the best of our abilities, inquiring more about our progression and our increased commitment to act in Krishna conscious way. So that will be that way we will demonstrate it in a it is in a far better way. So but nevertheless, I mean, we accept your uh, words on behalf of our seniors, and they do the same on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. So it's all being passed on. Doesn't stick with me, that's for sure.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. We'll see if there are any questions in the chat box. Don't see any questions. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay. So since there are no questions, I'm sorry about winding up a little bit early. Usually we discuss question answer, but my request to you is I'll share the presentation. I'll upload the recording. If please reach out if anybody has any doubt, any questions, or any comments, any alternate thought. Happy to be able to discuss it later during the week. So please stay Krishna conscious throughout the week, and we will meet next Sunday. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dhanapram. Wonderful
Hare
session,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dhanapram, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mudita Prabhu. Thank you so much.